Hey, it's Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 clever little pricing tactics that you can use to squeeze a bit more revenue out of your existing customers. So the first tactic is to use annual pricing the right way. See, most SaaS businesses treat annual pricing as a bit of an afterthought. So they default to their monthly pricing, and then they think later on, I'll add annual pricing as well. And then they usually offer either 2 months free or around about a 20% discount on their annual plans. So let's say you've got 3 different pricing tiers. Let's say you've got $10 a month, $50 a month, and $100 a month. The wrong way to do annual pricing is to take 20% off each of those amounts. So now your annual pricing is $8 a month, whatever that one is in the middle, $40 a month, and $90 a month or $80 a month on the 100 plan. So the problem if you do it that way is that you're cannibalizing existing revenue. So the people who are most likely to use your annual plans are people who have been using your product for a little while. They're getting good value out of it, and they're like, yep, I can see myself using this into the future. It's a little bit cheaper, I'm gonna switch to annual. And so those are the customers you wanna keep, but you're just losing 20% of your revenue, and if you didn't have an annual plan, you probably would have kept them anyway. It's just that they would have been paying 20% more. So that's not how you wanna implement annual pricing. A better approach, and one that I'd encourage you to use, is to treat your annual pricing as the default pricing package. So, your annual pricing is $10 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, obviously paid annually. If they want to switch to monthly pricing, then you increase that price by 20%. So it's $12 a month, or $60 a month, or $120 a month. And so if you go to the pricing page and you see the annual pricing by default, and then they can switch across to see monthly pricing and they see the price increase, suddenly the annual pricing looks quite reasonable by comparison. So that way, you'll probably find people will sign up, they'll sign up on the monthly plan, they'll pay a bit more, so you get an extra 20% revenue for the first few months. Then they go, yep, I can see myself using this product long term. I want to save a bit of money, I'll switch back to annual pricing now. And so you haven't lost any money, but you've gained 20% of the revenue for the first 3 months versus losing 20% of the revenue for 12 months. And because they're switching to annual pricing, that does help with cash flow because it means you're getting the full year of revenue up front, which is especially important for early stage startups and for bootstrapped SaaS businesses. So there's a few really good examples of companies that do this well. Zoom does annual pricing by default. If you go and check out their pricing page and have a look at the way they do it, that's a really good example to follow. The other one that I'd recommend you check out is Notion. The way that they do their annual pricing by default is a really good example of this too. Okay, so that's tactic number 1, using annual pricing the right way. Tactic number 2 is to add a maintenance mode plan as an alternative to cancellation. So what is a maintenance mode plan? A maintenance mode plan is a heavily discounted pricing tier that you only offer to existing customers, and you only offer it to them when they're about to cancel. You might have a product that you charge $100 for, your maintenance mode might be $5, $10, $20. And all you're doing in that maintenance mode is keeping their data where it is. If they've started building a website using your product, then you keep it there. If they've uploaded an email list, you keep it there. If they've uploaded any customer data, you keep it there. They can't do anything with it, but whatever information they've input, they've saved it effectively. And so when they come back to it in future, they don't have to do everything all over again from scratch. Now, the reason why you'd want to add a maintenance mode plan is twofold. So the first one is that you can squeeze a little bit of revenue. It's much better to have a customer paying a small amount of money than have that customer leave completely and pay you nothing. And the second reason why you'd want a maintenance mode plan is because it still keeps them in your ecosystem. So if you let them cancel and 3 months later, they're looking around, they might actually go with a competitor instead because they're not invested in your product anymore. Whereas if they've half built their website or they've uploaded a customer list or input some data and it's already in the system, it's much easier for them to come back to you, reactivate their account, get back onto a proper paid plan, and start using the information that's already in there rather than having to set up everything all over again on a completely new system. So the 2 main advantages, again, squeeze a little bit more revenue and reduce churn because you're keeping them around in your ecosystem for a little bit longer. Now, one example of a maintenance mode plan done really well is Kajabi. So Kajabi is an online course platform. We use them for our online courses. In fact, we've got a really kick-ass cold email course that you should totally go and check out, by the way. But the thing with Kajabi is that you need to set up a landing page, you need to set up email sequences, you upload a course, and then you decide, actually, maybe I want to update this or change a few modules around. So Kajabi's base plan is about $150 a month, but their maintenance mode is only $29 a month. So if you're finding that you're not getting many sales, or you want to switch something up with your website or your course, you go in, you go to cancel. Kajabi will say, would you like to pause instead? Pausing is going to take you to the maintenance mode plan, which is $29 a month. And for someone who's already set up their website, already set up some email sequences, maybe they've uploaded a course, that's a really attractive alternative. And I'm sure Kajabi is making a lot more money out of keeping customers in their ecosystem on a maintenance mode plan than letting them go and having them potentially switch to one of their competitors later on. So maintenance mode plan, really simple, really easy way to make a little bit more money, but mostly to keep your customers long term. So tactic number 3 is to add another pricing tier. Now, I first learned about this tactic from one of our StartupSauce community members. He gave a workshop and he kind of talked us through this tactic. I'd never heard of it before or seen it on any blog posts or YouTube videos or anything like that. So the tactic works as follows. Let's say you've got 3 different pricing tiers, and you notice that a lot of people are using your top most expensive pricing tier. Well, in that case, you just add another one that's a bit more expensive that allows them a bit more usage. This works better with when you usage gate your pricing tiers rather than feature gate it, but we'll talk about that in a second. So you go from 3 pricing tiers to now 4, and some people will drift across and they'll end up using the highest, the 4th pricing tier that you've just invented. Why would someone do this? Well, if you're selling to middle managers at medium or large size businesses, they're not spending their own money. And quite often it's just more of a hassle for them to sign up to one pricing tier, then hit a wall and realize they need to upgrade because they need something else later on down the line. And it's a hassle, more of a hassle for them to go and get permission or get a card or something and to upgrade to another pricing tier. It's more of a hassle for them to do that than just to get on the highest pricing tier from the very beginning. Especially if you name your pricing tiers. So maybe you have, starter, growth, agency, large business, enterprise, whatever you call your top pricing tier. If that describes the kind of customer who's likely to use it, they'll go in, they go, well, yeah, I am an agency, guess I need this one. Yeah, I am in a large enterprise, guess I need this one. So they're more likely to just pick your most expensive pricing tier straight out of the gate. And any of your existing customers might go, oh, there's a more expensive pricing tier that adds more stuff, more features, more functionality. Well, I should be using that one as well instead. So you will notice a migration towards the more expensive pricing tier you've got. Now, when this guy told me this tactic, he said, yeah, look at my pricing page. He's got 7 or 8 different pricing tiers now, which might be getting a little bit extreme. I don't think you can end up with 15 different pricing tiers. That's going to get a bit crazy. But if you've got 2 or 3, you might want to consider adding a more expensive one. The key to making this work, though, is you want it to be usage gated. And what I mean by that, we'll cover that in another video, but what I mean by that is the difference between one pricing tier and the next is about how much they're using your product. So MailChimp being the classic example of this, you get 2,000 email subscribers on their free plan, but as soon as you get your 2,001st email subscriber, that's when you have to upgrade to a paid plan. And then when you hit a certain email subscriber limit there, you have to upgrade to a more expensive plan. So if that's the way that you're usage gating your plans currently, this tactic might work really well for you. And it's an easy way to just make a little bit of extra money just by offering something else. Some other stuff, the question that a lot of people ask when I suggest this tactic is they say, well, okay, but what else do I offer? I'm already offering everything I've got on my current highest tier plan. What else can I offer? So there's a few ideas there. So one is that you can impose a usage gate on your top tier plan and then offer additional usage with your higher tier plan. The second thing that you can offer is support. So you might offer priority support, you might offer a higher response time, but even just calling it priority support or high priority support, people don't necessarily know what that means, but it might be useful, particularly for those middle manager type customers. So those are 2 ideas that you might want to incorporate when you're trying to justify what else they're getting for this higher pricing tier. So real quick summary here, the 3 pricing tactics that you can use to squeeze a little bit more revenue out of your customers. So tactic number 1 was to use annual pricing the right way. Tactic number 2 was to add a maintenance mode plan as an alternative to cancellation. And tactic number 3 is to add a more expensive pricing tier when you see people are currently using your top most expensive pricing tier. Add one that's a little bit more expensive on top of that and see if you can get a few to jump over to it. Anyway, hope that was helpful. Ryan Wardell here from StartupSauce. I'll see you in the next video.